the band play.
100K on the protect, living life with no regrets. These out when I get dressed. Summertime, I'm with a fresh. Put a leg behind her head. Night, she gonna bed. Bye-bye. Every day it's a new test. I just keep chasing these chicks. Living life with no regrets.
SledTalk listeners, welcome back to the next episode of SledTalk. And again, I say this every single time, but this is a super unique episode. So if you're watching this, you're going to see a little bit of a setup with the boys. So we have returning guest Justin Ponsor back on for another episode. Justin is going to help co-host this episode. And the next guests to introduce are Shayde and Hunter, business partners and co-founders of Dura-Deck.
That's right. Yep.
Oh yeah. Awesome. I appreciate you guys jumping on. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. So let's get right into this. Let's start off with a little bit of an introduction to you, Shayde. So tell us, and all the listeners a little bit about who you are, where you're from, what you do, all that good personal stuff.
So yeah, my name is Shayde Schmeichel. I'm from North Dakota. We've been born and raised there. I've been born and raised there. Him too as well. But anyways, yeah, I guess, we got into snowmobiling at a pretty young age. Grew a passion for the sport very early on. Of course, never was introduced to the mountains until later in my high school years.
Sure.
But that kind of, I guess, got the transition into building the sled decks and stuff like that. It was basically having a passion for snowmobiling, and we can get into, more of that later on and stuff like that too. But yeah, that just, with that being said, just the whole background of power sports growing up, love being on the water, jet skiing, whatever it might be.
Sure.
Four-wheeling, dirt biking, snowmobiling. Just always enjoyed the adrenaline, I guess, of the power sports and stuff like that. And so kind of growing up with that background, I got married here in my early 20s. And
nice. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. And then, have two little girls. Just had my second one here about 4 months ago. So just a young.
Oh boy.
Makes it tricky
yeah,
too.
Yeah. Youngins.
Yeah, sneak away. But yeah, it's always rewarding too, to get out and about as well. Other than that, just pretty, I don't know, not nothing too special with me. But yeah, I guess that's it for the most part. I guess I can let you guys listen to Hunter here a little bit, and we can.
Yeah. So same thing over to you, Hunter. A little bit of personal side, who you are, where you're from, what you do, any of that good stuff you want to share.
Yeah. So I'm Hunter Schmeichel, business partners with Shayde here. My background is a little bit of North Dakota boy. So our family business, our grandfather started like a canvas shop. So then we farmed and did some tarps and whatnot, and like our history and stuff. And snowmobiling, I didn't really start my snowmobiling industry until I was a little older. I always kind of looked up to Shayde. He had a sled, and he'd be out ripping on like an old 800 Skidoo, like an 03, like a MXZ or something like that. But I always thought that was kind of cool, ditch banging, of course, kind of like that Iowa guy here.
Yeah.
Lots of ditch banging.
Yeah.
So I never really got the opportunity of like having a sled like as a kid. I was more like motorcycle, I guess, in a way. I was a fanatic about dirt bikes.
Got it.
So I kind of ended up, just seeing other guys riding, and then kind of got a little bigger and can maybe even handle a sled, because my first sled up, of course, I had to get the 800. So.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I was probably like 16, 15, and Shayde would always be like, yeah, you're coming out to the mountains. I'm like, sweet, I'm this kid. And then we went out there. I'm like, wow, this is nuts, dude. I don't know, man. But yeah, it's been pretty cool. I mean, like, I did ride with some of like my classmates and stuff when we got a little older and whatnot, but it's always been kind of cool, always riding with guys that are a little older, and like they kind of already got the skill down, and that really helped me like push myself and become a better rider. Because
Sure.
I mean, snowmobiling is definitely not for everybody. You struggle, you get up, you get down, you got to keep good positive attitude and stuff, and Yeah, basically, yeah.
Heck yeah. Well, I will say, out of everybody at this table, you're the only one that I actually spent some time riding with today.
Yeah.
And you're a hell of a ripper, dude. It was fun watching you.
Hell yeah. Thanks, man.
Absolutely. I know Jeff got a handful of good shots of you, so it was a good time watching you for sure.
Heck yeah. Yeah,
Cool.
It was a blast.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. So I guess to each of you, when was the first time? How old were you when you got on a sled?
Ooh, boy, I'd have to say probably like 6 or 7.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere in that area.
Yeah.
I think I was like 10 or 11, to be honest.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Right. And so currently for the viewers, obviously you can tell we're at the same setup that we did the episode with Justin. So we're still over here in Sandpoint, Idaho. And that was a little bit of a trek for you boys to get over here. Man. How long of a drive is that?
It was about 16 hours.
Yeah.
Good
With a little bit of bad weather on the way.
Yeah. Huh?
It makes it interesting, you know?
Yeah. I mean, hey, whatever it takes to get to play in the snow,
absolutely. Once you get here, it's all worth it. It always is. But yeah.
And so have either of you ever been here?
Not this far up. No.
Okay.
No, last year we were at like McCall, I guess.
Got it.
A little different, but kind of like the same amount of drive. I think McCall is a little further, but
Gotcha.
we haven't been to this area.
Sure.
And Missoula's been the highest or the farthest that I've ever been up.
Okay.
This far.
I was just going to ask that, obviously you guys border Montana. And so what are some of the areas that you've ridden in Montana? Since
So,
it's
like,
obviously a lot closer to you guys.
Our usually go-to place is, no, just kidding. A lot of times we go down to like West Yellowstone area.
Okay.
In that whole vicinity. There's a lot of good riding areas to choose from. So it's very easy drive for us.
Sure.
It's one of the shorter drives for all of the destinations that a guy can go to. And,
Right.
and the train is it's to my liking, I guess, But we've also done Cook City a few times. But, pretty small area. You can get tracked up pretty quick. So you got to kind of hit that one at the right spot, right time.
Gotcha.
But
Have you guys ever been to Sealy?
no, I haven't. I'd love to though.
It's a pretty popular place.
It's definitely on the bucket list.
Yeah. I actually grew up 30 minutes from Sealy.
Oh, no
wow.
kidding.
Yeah. I spent 11 years in a really small town called Ovando, population of about 64 people.
That is small.
Really?
Super small. So I know that area pretty well. I haven't actually ridden in Sealy, but that, on the other side of the mountains from Sealy, I've ridden.
Okay.
But it's pretty epic.
We've got a lot of buddies that have been going up there lately, and I've been hearing nothing but good things about it.
I mean, it seems like it's very rapidly growing in popularity on social media.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, a good or a bad thing, maybe. I don't know. Probably a bad thing for the locals, I suppose. Right on. What are some other areas you guys ever been into? Wyoming or Colorado or?
Yeah, a little bit of Wyoming. I mean, we did the Togety trip on the Sled USA a few years ago, and that was a pretty good time. Otherwise, kind of. I mean, if you're gonna go into Wyoming, probably the Wyoming-Idaho border. We did a lot of like Alpine, Aspen area down into like Wyoming. And then, every now and then we'll journey on down into like the Colorado's area. A lot of steamboat, like up in that neck of the woods. But that's pretty much it. We don't really Johnny over down into like the southern Colorado.
Sure.
As much as we hear how awesome it is down there.
Right.
It's just, it's such a drive.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like when you're going on the way, you 12 hours into it, and all of a sudden you're passing like these sweet spots that you typically pull in. It's like, oh man, we got like another 6 hours to go.
Yeah.
Like, great.
Yeah.
Should be stopping right now.
Yeah.
So I don't really get down to that neck of the woods or like Utah or anything.
Sure.
But yeah, try to get around as much as we can.
Yeah. What's for each of you? What's probably the number one place that you guys want to go? What's at the top of the list?
BC.
Yeah?
Yeah, Revelstoke. Yep.
Yeah.
It'd be fun to go up there.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Just because we've
100%.
never been up there.
Right.
And you just see so many cool, videos of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
crazy
dude.
country.
Yeah.
And then you get that low elevation, that good power. Yeah. I mean, that would be pretty ideal.
Perfect mix.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Sounds like we're going to have to plan a trip.
We might have to.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Next year.
Yeah. That'd be sick.
Absolutely.
So let's switch gears a little bit, Justin. Let's jump over to you, and why don't you share with the listeners and the viewers a little bit of the story as far as how you guys all got introduced, how you guys even know each other.
So one of my first ambassadors for Sled USA, his name was T-Mac, guide out of Montana.
Yeah.
So the first year we had a booth at Heydays, he was there helping me and stuff. And I was looking at a sled deck. I wanted to get a sled deck. And he's like, I got some buddies that are starting to make sled decks.
Oh,
I'm like,
boy.
oh, really? So, you know,
Yeah.
I was just expecting, you know, kind of like a homemade sled deck or
Sure.
homemade looking sled deck.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
'cause
yeah.
there's so many of them that you see.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
So Hunter and a couple of your buddies, I think it was Dustin and
Yeah.
Mason.
Yep. Mason. Yep,
Yeah,
and Dustin,
they walked
yeah.
over and he showed me a picture on his phone of the white one that was
I
on
wasn't
that white
there that
Dodge.
year. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looked like
Super
spot
clean.
on. Yeah, like flawless, and
Yeah.
it did not look homemade at all. And I was like, "You guys built that?"
Yeah,
Like,
right.
So I was like, "Yeah, we need to, like, let me know how I can get one." So after a while, Sled USA became a dealer for Dura-Deck.
Yep.
Heck
right.
yeah. That's so crazy how that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the first time that he was at Heydays, and T-Mac like kind of grabbed me. He's like, "Hey, you gotta meet Justin." I'm like, "Oh, really? Okay." And then I'm like, we're walking straight up. I remember there's a couple of hay bales and the Sled USA, the little tent and whatnot, and introduced each other. And you could just tell like right away there's just like a connection. Like we're like, dude, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
We should work
we're
together
both, like,
somehow.
stoked.
We should figure this out.
Yeah.
And you know, that's also been a lot of even our success too, is with Justin. So like we were a brand new company. I'm, you know, just getting into, I mean, not even necessarily selling them at this point. I mean, Justin, I think you were my first customer.
First
correct?
customer.
So at
Yeah.
this
Oh,
point
boy.
it was an idea, right?
Sure.
I
Got
had built like my first one to, just to get my butt out to the mountains.
Yep.
And then, it's like, well, should we get into selling these things or not? I mean, they just encountering a few people down, you know, in the parking lots and stuff like that. They see this thing and, you know, they'd ask questions and,
Sure.
you know, like, well, maybe we should sell them. So anyways, yeah, Hunter went down to the Heydays and I didn't go that year. I think maybe, I don't know if Georgia was, I don't know if something was, if
I think
it
it
was
was
a kid issue or
before
something. Anyways, I wasn't
Georgia,
able to make
year
it.
before.
Seems like the only time you don't make it to Heydays is when you're having a kid.
We were
born.
like not even exactly. So we were like not even a company at the time. And Justin, like we had heard about Sled USA. We knew about him, but
Sure.
we didn't, like he was pretty fresh at that time too. I think earlier he had mentioned, I think 2016 is when he kind of
and
started.
this was
And
fall
then-
of 2017.
Yep. And
Oh,
so
there you
fall
go.
of 2017, yeah, was when we were basically, when Hunter had linked up with him. And so, yeah, it was just super cool having such a fresh company with huge potential help us out as well. Because
Totally.
as he grew, we were able to grow, you know, and it's just been an awesome relationship ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So-
super cool.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it just goes to show the importance too of going to events like Heydays, right? Networking and shaking hands with these people and whatnot, and the opportunities that can come from it. I mean, that's a pretty cool story.
Yeah.
Friendships too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, like when I go to pick up the new deck, we'll hit the lake, you know, and do some jet skiing.
Oh,
and-
it's turned into so much more. Yeah. We always have a good time.
That's awesome.
You know?
That's really cool. And from like a, you know, Justin, from your standpoint, that's cool to be able to bond with a company, right? You guys
Yeah.
are all friends and
Yep,
stuff
business
now, but
meetings.
you're a company. It's cool to be able to bond with a company that you know, first off, believe in their product and everything, and then it develops into a relationship. And honestly, like the reality of it is too, not too many people have that kind of opportunity to become best friends with the owners of a company.
Right.
So that's super cool.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many features there that had to line up perfectly for
Totally.
it to turn into what it is. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
we're not 50-year-old dudes building sled decks, and you know,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he could have a relationship with it, but I don't think it'd be as strong as what it is had us being,
Yeah.
you know,
It's been
younger guys
super
and
fun
kind
to
of get
see.
into it.
Yeah.
So
Like seeing you guys grow and all the new features you come out with each year and just like how the decks have developed is pretty fun to watch.
oh, I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's sick. So yeah, we're gonna get into the production stuff here in a minute, but I want to put both of you on the spot. So I'm rocking a Marlin sled deck.
I seen that.
Right?
Yeah, I seen
So,
that.
one, just to answer it for myself, but then two, for anybody else out there that has a Marlin or doesn't even have a sled deck and is thinking about getting one, but specifically for me, rocking a Marlin, why should I choose to switch and go to Dura-Deck?
Well, for one, you know, we have all the same options that Marlin has as far as, you know, your aluminum decking, your sliding sides, the runners, ski glides, the whole shebang, telescopic ramp. There's a couple features though that we have over Marlon. And yes, they may have a couple, like, well, I guess maybe like that rear taillight. That's probably the only thing that probably stands out to me that we maybe don't have.
Sure.
But there's a lot of other features that we have incorporated into our system or our sled deck that I think, not that it makes us any better than others, but makes us stand out a little differently.
Yep.
We didn't invent the sled deck, but we try to maybe make it better in a sense of doing certain things here and there. You know, like you were talking about earlier, having the electric sliding sides. You know, we're the only deck to do that, and then also the ramp assist. You know, we're the first ones to start doing that. So there's just little key features in them that I think set the bar for us, that we're not just a regular sled deck company trying to just make decks and have at it. We're trying to progress the game. And don't get me wrong, Marlon, they got a great deck too as well. I mean, it's every competition is good for everyone. There's enough competition to go around for everyone.
Yep.
But they're by far, I would say, probably the number one deck in the nation. And with that being said, they got, way bigger, facility that they're pumping these things out in Swipe so they can get them out there. But, it's that doesn't necessarily make it a better deck because there's more of them out there. It's just, they have more of a manpower. They've been around a lot longer than us, and we're gearing up to try to get into that. But, as far as what's better or worse, I can't really tell you if there's one that's better or not. Everyone's got their preferences, but I can 100%. Tell you the difference in features that we have to offer over others. And if that suits you, then that deck's for you.
100%.
Yeah.
Totally. Awesome.
Sure.
Hunter, do you have anything to add to that?
Oh, he kind of nailed it right there. Yep.
I feel like the looks of the deck too kind of sets you apart. I've had a lot of customers and potential customers say that they prefer the looks of the Dura-Deck over a lot of the other
I appreciate that. And with that too being said, there's a lot of things that we do that take more time into making the decks, whether if it's, sanding the little edges down with the DA or whatever it is to make it, look like it's seamless and just weird little deals. But it's that end result that we're after. We want the decks to look good.
Sure.
I mean, that's what sells them.
100%.
You have something that's kind of shrewd looking.
Yeah.
Even then I wouldn't want to sell my own product.
Got these guys with $80,000, $90,000 trucks, you're going to want something looking good on the back of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so, the kind gestures and everything, like that's obviously what fuels it at the end of the day.
100%.
Absolutely. It's the positive influence on it and just everything. I mean, there's a lot of headaches that come with it in any business, that can happen, but it's always the smiles and the happiness at the end of the day of the whole thing is what makes it worth it. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, and I think too, this is a small thing, but at the same time, to me, it's a really big thing. You guys are a USA based company.
That too. Yes.
Nothing against Canada necessarily.
Well, not only that, but now don't quote me on this, but I don't even think Marlon is made in Canada.
Oh.
I think they're made across seas, shipped in a shipping container, from what I've been told.
Understood.
But I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been told that they're not even American made, and some customers and even some athletes of the Dura-Deck family have kind of told me that as well. So like you're saying, yes, we are USA made. Everything is made in-house at our shop. Yep. The only thing that's I guess not made would be the super clamps, and we get those from Canada. Caliper ski glides that we have, it's the next state over in Minnesota. So yeah, everything is all like within state or surrounding states, all the resources, everything
which is sick.
Yeah
100%.
It's nice to I guess be able to say that.
Yeah, totally.
USA made.
100%.
I feel like that's definitely a selling point too, like for me too personally.
Totally.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. 100%. So you had touched on the word production a little bit. Walk us through, and everybody listening and watching right now, like walk us through your setup as far as like from point A to Z, what it takes you guys to actually make these decks and what your setup is, like warehouse, a big shop, or kind of just go into the detail of.
Oh yeah, sure. So I guess first off, we when Hunter had graduated high school, I was like 24. We got into, so we have a background of doing like canvases, tarps, and semi-trailers and stuff like that. So we started a business based upon that. Being in North Dakota, it's a big agricultural state. Family have had success with it. We're like, well, let's just try it out. And anyways, fast forward that, we had a lot of the machinery to get into building the sled decks through all this stuff.
Okay.
and we had this nice, huge, not huge. It's about 17,000 square foot shop at the time when we got it. It was like, huge for us anyways. And, so we got into that. We had this, Tarp Pros, the company name that we started in 2014, had the materials to kind of start building these things. I got into, not really having a way to get out to the mountains. So that's kind of how we progressed into building them at the shop. And that wasn't until 2016 is when I built my first one just for myself.
Yeah, I think it was the winter of 15.
15, yeah.
Yeah,
and then that white one, which is what
heat in the shop at
seen.
the time too.
Yeah,
It was like 40 degrees, and I was out there spraying it with some stage 1 semi-gloss and whatnot. Yeah,
some good old humble beginnings. But anyways, so we got into this shop. The owner that had it, he gave us a good deal for rent. I mean, it was hard to pass up the opportunity. So fast forward into 2015, 2016, we got into building, our first sled deck. And then it was pretty slow at first. Like I built my own, actually built the first 2. And then that's when we ran into Justin. And then he's actually the one that really helped ramp it up, because we were just getting into the portion of wanting to sell it. And then he just, with the marketing strategies that he had really gotten the word out there and had progressed that. So once that started getting progressed, we were then able to start adding employees on the Dura-Deck side.
Got it.
And it wasn't just, one-man guy just kind of building them here and there. We had to progress it into a team to where we could, welders would be welding all day, and, we got guys wiring them. So now, if a guy was to run to the shop, it'd be more like an assembly line.
Sure.
So it's, getting cut right off the saws, going straight into the jig where it's getting welded, coming off the jig, going straight to the electricians to get wired up.
Okay.
Those parts will get sent out for powder coating, come back, and then we wrap up on it. And then,
what's the time frame? Start to finish?
Right now, when, with material and everything like that, we're at about, 5 a week. So about 1 a day with complete. But, for this next coming year, I know right now we're kind of at a little bit of a delay with materials.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier.
It's just been kind of a nightmare. So, right now we're working on some extruders to hopefully get some stuff here within the next few weeks. And then once we do that, me and him were actually just talking about maybe even ramping up another welder just to try and get caught up and meet what we want to, which would be, 10 to 15 decks a week continuously throughout the year.
Heck yeah.
Is kind of the goal. So, and it's never a problem with the sales. It's always a lack of sales that we have, or not a lack of sales, but we always have the orders in there, but we don't have, it's a lack of product that we have to deliver.
That's what we want to improve on as a company.
Got it.
Okay. And so, with that being said, that's where our delays have been at with mainly aluminum. But
Gotcha.
We'll try to gear up this year and hopefully hit our numbers. But you never know, though.
Yeah.
And to add to your assembly line, and now you have a team. Each summer when I go to pick up the deck, it's been cool to see. The first summer I went there was 1 or 2, or maybe just even mine, and then now this last summer you had decks stacked to the ceiling.
Oh yeah. One thing about the sled decks is they're not small. So they take up a lot of real estate room inside. Yep. But that is kind of cool. I mean, it's good to see, but working around kind of gets obnoxious. It's got the stack of decks here,
I walked in and it was a full-blown production. I mean, these ones are getting welded. These ones need to go, get painted. And
because we have cuts, so we cut the aluminum, and then we have a parts, or else like Shayde was saying, it'll go into the jig, and then we'll weld it, and then as soon as my welders are done, we're pushing them out. So we're keeping things flowing, and then assembling more. Where we're doing the runners, getting the parts loaded up for powder coating, because the rails or something just got done and stuff, and then we have racks, and then we trailer those out. But our biggest thing is making it flow a lot better to get those numbers up there.
Heck yeah. So with the exception of lack of product, over the last few years since you guys have started, what's been a couple of big challenges that you guys have faced internally within the company, or
probably making some
production,
the demands, getting it done, because like Shayde was saying too, and me, we do agricultural, so we do semi tarps, and then we do I do mobile work and stuff, and then that's where it takes the team too to get it done and whatnot.
And for me, I guess so with the Dura-Deck itself, a lot of the design and work has been, I guess, through me, I guess, per se. And when it comes to the headaches, there's a lot of things in there. Like this year we incorporated the headache rack to have a notch out for the lights. And, there's a lot of so many things that just start getting thrown at you. So many wrong things when you're building these racks to make, like, you visualize it and it's like, yeah, it should look great. But then you're starting to build and it's like, man, like these cuts are off. Something's just not right. And, you know, so that's probably where a lot of the struggles, I would have to say, you know, going back to your question, would be from, you know, maybe transversing to the new stuff, you know, trying to make it better and doing so, which I love it because it's like a puzzle, you know,
Totally.
every day it's something new, but at
Business, baby.
it is. But then also it can be stressful too, you know, because you're working on this thing and it's not turning out kind of like how you wanted it to. And you got way more time invested into it than you initially thought. And it's just like, should I have even started trying to do this, you know? And so, yeah, there's probably some of the biggest struggles. And then, you know, I mean, as some of these new pickups adapt and things change with this new technology, just having to keep up with these new trucks. And and you had talked about that earlier.
We were talking about that
with the wiring and stuff on.
Right.
So, and of course, we don't know this until we go and throw a deck in a brand new pickup, because it's not like, you know, GM or Ford or, you know, Ram calls us up and be like, hey, this is what we're doing different now.
I mean, maybe one day.
You know? And so these new trucks are being made, and then we're building these decks, you know, and by the time, you know, we'll be building them all summer long, and by the time a customer might buy them, it would be the winter time. Well, then he'll have this brand new truck, but then, you know, something might not. So it's like, well, why is that not working? Like when it left our shop, everything tested out just fine. So, you know, there's been a few little things like that kind of come up. But at the end of the day, we've always, you know, got a solution for it, which is, you know, obviously the plan, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it definitely sucks having those struggles of figuring out, like, you know, what is causing this when you really don't have any guidance or instructions on what they're doing on their end to make their wiring different and stuff like that. So just the little things like that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
The struggles.
So, opposite of struggles, what's been, you know, one or two or more, or just one of like the most rewarding piece of Dura-Deck? Like, what's been some of the most rewarding things that you've gotten from success within the business that's meant the most to you? Or
I'd have to say probably friendships. Like, I met like
That's
a lot of people in the sled world because of it. And I mean, just so like growing up watching sled necks and seeing like Chris Brandt, Rob Alford, all these OG guys, you know, out hucking it. You know, you grow up watching these films, like, hey, I want to be like that one day, you know, and you think they're almost in a different realm than what you are. Like they're a celebrity. Like there's no way in hell you will ever like be able to talk to them or whatever. You know, you just as a young guy, you just totally think of it's not even in this world. But then you get into making these products and you're meeting all these people, and hey, they're just another person too, you know. And so that to me, and then you build these friendships with the people that you once like really looked up to, you know. And like, for example, this year we took on like Rob Alford as one of our athletes, you know, and so just building that friend zone stuff, or whatever you want to call it, is the most rewarding for me in being able to, you know, meet these people that I once thought wasn't even ever possible, you know, and here I am, you know, talking to them on a daily. It's great. It's awesome.
That is rewarding.
So that's the best, I would think.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Seeing them on TV and then like they're actually like running your product for the season, like that's incredible for us.
That's super fulfilling.
Yeah, oh yeah, big time.
Makes all those struggles 100% worth it.
Yeah, dude.
It does.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, like even like I know on the way down here we ran into or passed a couple people on the interstate that were heading home as we were coming out, and you know, repping our product, and
that's got to be
it's a good
sick feeling.
Yeah, it's a good feeling, you know.
That's dope.
It's like, you know, you're building these things, and it's actually nice to see people out there using it.
Yeah.
It's really rewarding.
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Justin, you got something to add or ask, or?
I do remember the first time I saw a Dura-Deck in public that I didn't know who it was. And I was like, that's awesome. There's Dura-Deck.
Yeah.
I wanted to go over and talk to the guy.
Heck yeah. Well, as soon as, you know, we wrapped up there at the snow park and we took off, we jumped back in the truck. And that was one of the first things that Jeff said, because I asked him his thoughts on seeing the deck. And he was like, it's so much more sleek and looks so much better than Than mine. Than the Marlin. I mean, you know,
I appreciate that.
And I'm not
I
sponsored
really
by
do.
Marlin, so I can say that. It's all good. But you know, and I mean, so like, you know, Jeff's been riding the last couple years here, so he's pretty new to the sport in essence, and so it's cool to have somebody's perspective like that could just instantly like pick up on that, you know. So it's, I mean, that's a statement for sure.
No, and I appreciate that, Jeff, for sure. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, they look sick. I'm gonna have to, well, I guess it's dark now. I should have, you came over and looked at mine and was like picking on things and whatnot. I should have done the same to yours. Now that I'm thinking about
you gotta
that,
see what
I'm like,
Marlon's
what
up
the
to. No,
hell?
just kidding.
Well, I mean, dude, you need to, right? Like that's important about running a
sense,
business.
you got to see what the other people are up to.
100%.
For sure. Yeah,
Totally.
yeah.
I mean, that's just, you know, come up with ideas and that's how you progress and make your product better or things
It
that
made me feel a lot better though when you said you were running into the same issues that, you know, that some of even the other guys were running into.
with the lighting.
The lighting and
Yeah.
stuff with these newer trucks and whatnot. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, so it goes to show that even a big, you know, I don't know how big Marlon is. Obviously, they're bigger than us, but even them,
they're pretty
they have
big.
their struggles as well too. You know,
100%.
So nobody's perfect by
Yep.
any means.
Yep.
But we can try to be the best we can. You know.
Yep.
Hey, progression.
Yeah.
So 3 years from now, what's the Dura-Deck look like?
Yeah, you know, I've thought about that. So I'd maybe like to incorporate maybe a few more like plastic clips and pieces and stuff like that into it. But honestly, like with the way the looks and stuff are, and like what Justin was saying earlier with, you know, just the compliments and stuff that he gets. I mean, the looks in itself can sell itself.
100%.
And so it's just like, well, what does a guy do next? You know, like, I don't know.
How do you top this?
You don't really know. So there's nothing out there yet as far as like a whole, you know, workover by any means. But, you know, the little features, you know, like the headache rack we're talking about for that third light and stuff, you know, like little things like that, you know, we can try to add. But I don't know if I really want to take away from the look of the Dura-Deck. You know, when you look at, like, I mean, when we were going down the interstate, I mean, we seen it and we knew right away it was a Dura-Deck. So we don't really want to take that signature look away from it, you know.
I feel like a lot of them with the flat side kind of look the same.
Yes.
And a lot of times the way I can
there's
tell
so
them-
many of them, and you don't know if it's like a Polaris
Yeah.
deck or a Snow Pro
Yeah.
or
The only way I can tell a lot of them
Mission.
apart is the sticker.
yeah, and that's true. Like, there's a few of them that if they were sitting right next to each other and they weren't labeled, I don't know if I would be able to tell the difference
Yeah.
between them either.
I mean, Truck Boss is like rounded, so
That I know.
can
Yeah,
see-
that
scope
that
out.
line, you know, they kind of have signature looks, but yeah, I don't know if I ever will. You know, I've always liked to come up with like an extruded side of some sort, incorporate that top bar so we ain't doing no welding and stuff like that. But it's like, I just don't want to take away from the looks of it if I could, you know, make it look good. So
For sure.
yeah, it's
100%.
tough to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Jeff, you have anything you want to ask or highlight?
What's your guys' business look like 5 years from now? Like, are you guys going to go away from the agricultural stuff and go straight to just only do the Dura-Deck stuff? Or
Oh, well,
I see your company expanding.
There's a lot of different options that we.
I mean, we won't go away from agriculture. That'll always be in the works. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Where there's money to be made, I mean, I think anybody should go after it. And there's good money in agricultural. So between that, we have a few products that are totally relevant to snowmobile and that do quite well in that field as well. And then there's also some other new products, too, that we'll be releasing in that agricultural department, you know. So with the new products and everything, I just, you know, I just don't see Dura-Deck ever really taking over that part of it, you know. But I definitely enjoy doing Dura-Decks more. I mean, the family, not the Dura-Deck family, but just the friends and everyone that I've met, like we had talked about earlier.
Yep.
There's no way in heck doing tarps and stuff like that. I'd meet the people that I have and
Sure.
travel and do the things that I have. So.
Snowmobile industry is filled with a lot of cool people.
It is. It is. They're
It's
badass,
super unique.
They're badass dudes. They
Nothing
really
else
are.
like it.
You know, and so yeah, it's we'll always continue to try and do that, and also keep the agricultural thing going. And you know, we want to grow our company. You know, the Tarp Pro, which is the company name, which owns Dura-Deck and a few other products as well. you know, we want to see this company really succeed. So
Sure.
between Dura-Decks and all the other sales that we do, I don't think we'll ever step back from something else. We'll just keep trying to ramp everything up.
Yeah.
We're doing more sales in Dura-Decks. We still want the agriculture to keep going up too.
100%.
Really, you know. Yeah,
100%.
keep growing, man.
Yep. We're going.
Yep.
So do you guys have, you've mentioned some athlete, you know, Rob.
Yep.
You guys talk a little bit about your athlete program. Do you guys have like an ambassador program that you guys push? Or
Yes. Yeah.
A little bit?
Yep. Essentially. So with a few backcountry riders, you know, we have a few guys that are repping our product. We do have a program going on right now. It's you know, we're not a huge company, so we don't have
Sure.
like a lot of, you know, athletes. But you know, like we got the Boondock Nation guys, Cody Hunt, Rob Alford. There's a few hill climb riders that we're kind of helping out a little bit there. You know, so it's nothing huge, but we're trying to help in the community that we can, and obviously try to be as beneficial as we can.
Totally.
So find the you know, the right names, you know, is huge for us. You know, we get a lot of inquiries on sponsorships, guys
Sure.
that want to, you know, represent and stuff. But, you know, it's kind of a tight niche market for sled decks because it's kind of an expensive product, you know, so
Totally.
you can't really be just kind of hand them out like flyers, you know, necessarily.
Totally.
So, you know, we are pretty key to, you know, selecting the right people that we think was going to be, you know, kind of the most beneficial for the company. So that way, you know, we invest into you, we kind of, you know,
But there needs to
gotta
be
make a circle.
a mutual value exchange.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
Like, I'm sure there's people out there that, hey, give me this for free kind of thing, right?
Right,
Where it's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
all right, well, what are you going to give in exchange, right?
Yep.
Like, at the end of the day, yeah, you guys are cool dudes and whatnot, and like to rip sleds, but you run a business.
Right.
And that takes money,
Yeah.
right?
You
And
can't
so,
just give the shit away for
yeah,
free, you know.
absolutely not. That just doesn't, you know, that doesn't make ends meet on the business side.
Yeah,
right?
yep.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, when we do get a lot of the requests from, you know, some of the smaller guys that
Sure.
are trying to make a name, and don't get me wrong, I mean, you guys might be the next biggest thing, and I might have made a mistake if I denied you guys
Sure,
or
sure.
whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's what it comes about is, you know, where you're at right now, what you're doing in the sport, not where you're going to be in a year or two from now, but it's, you know, we kind of look at right now what's going on in the present,
Yeah.
you know, and so, yeah.
Yeah. Social proof.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah,
Totally.
It's got a lot to do with it.
I
for
mean,
sure.
because at the end of the day, words, it's kind of unfortunate, but words can be very empty, right? Oh, next year I'm going to be, you know, doing X and all this kind of stuff. And I'm going to be having this many followers and this many views and plays and whatnot. Well,
Yeah.
It's an investment
no
for a
guarantee.
gamble.
Yeah.
right,
100%.
that's just it too.
Totally.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, shit. If a guy like, you know, Caleb came up that you see him, you know, whipping out, you know, 720s and shit like that. I mean, before he's a big name, yeah, that's kind of a no-brainer. But
Yeah.
you know, there's not very many guys out there like him per se. So
That's for sure.
yeah, there's unfortunately a lot of denials that have to be said out there. Not necessarily denials, but turn downs or whatever, you know.
I mean, it
Yeah.
needs to be a good fit.
It does. It does. Yep. So, yeah. Not that I don't want to take you on. I just, yeah, can't. Yeah.
I mean, you need to make money
Yep.
too,
Yep,
right? At the end of the day,
Well,
also.
yeah. Otherwise, yeah. What are you gonna have? You know.
Totally. 100%.
Yeah.
Justin, do you want to highlight anything or ask any other questions or something maybe like from the viewer listener's perspective that maybe they're curious about that these boys can answer for us?
Maybe they could put in the comments what accessories they would like to see on a sled deck.
Yeah. That'd be
sir.
sick.
I'm always thinking of ideas.
And
We like ideas.
Yeah, I love any output. You know,
Sure.
from anybody, good or bad ideas, we love them. You know, can't ever have too many of them.
Yeah,
Some
I mean,
of
because those are the individuals out there in the field that are utilizing, maybe it's not your product, but a different deck, whatever it is, and that, you know, feedback can be very beneficial, sometimes not,
Right.
right?
Oh,
But,
yeah.
I mean, still, you're getting feedback from the people boots on the ground that are utilizing this product.
Yeah. Yep.
Right, so
Absolutely.
it's
And that's the
valuable.
hugest word of mouth, people talking.
Yep.
You know, that's the best.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah. No, Justin, that was a great question. Cool. Well, I think we could, I don't know if you guys wanted to touch on anything else.
I guess, I don't know, is there anything in particular that you can think of?
We can talk about your guys' current sleds if you want to dive into your guys' current setups. Or
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we sure
maybe
could.
the future
We're
sleds.
Here on a sled trip.
well,
Sure.
I guess let me ask you this. This is always fun to ask. Why are you on Skidoo instead of a Polaris or an Arctic Cat or something?
Okay, so I have a little bit of a history. I don't know so much about him, but like I've had a few Polarises growing up in my younger days, and nothing against Polaris.
Careful.
Nothing against
what
them.
you're saying here.
But I blew them all up.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
and every one of them, and it's just like, what the heck's going on here? So, and I've had a mix of like Polaris and Skidoo growing up, and it just never blown up a Skidoo yet. And I'm not saying that bad
might be
flaw or
another
whatever.
day.
It was, yeah, exactly, and it could have been just bad luck on my end, but that kind of put a sour taste in my mouth.
Got it. Sure. Understandably.
So yeah, I know I bought a Dragon like back in 08, and this is like, and I boosted it, and this is back when like boost was like just first being heard of, damn near,
Sure.
very finicky, and it was a nightmare. I mean, always regulating air fuel ratios up and down the fuel pressure. There's just so much to it. And of course, Polaris was the first ones back then with fuel injection. So it worked great with the turbos. And, so it's like, well, I've read Polaris before, we'll give it another shot. Blow it up a mile later. So I know, order right after I install the turbo, that is. So then I order up a new motor, and it was a decent sled. And then when that T-Motion came out, I bought a new Skidoo like in 13 or whatever it was. And I don't know. I guess I've just kind of been on it ever since.
Sure.
Not prejudiced. I think Polaris look the best by far. I think they have an awesome body style.
Yeah.
I just the performance, I guess, in the past is, led me to more Skidoo, I guess, and
Sure.
and whatnot. But I know, like, even Hunter, he's he always talks, oh man, maybe I should get a Polaris.
I have to. It says like 2017. I'm like, gosh, because I do like the slim of them, like
Sure.
Skidoo. Like me, I was kind of a younger guy, or younger, and like didn't have a lot of weight, so I was like, it's kind of a little harder, like tugging the Skidoo around. Like I had a 14 or whatever, and a 17, but I've always kind of had in the back of my head is switching over, but.
And plus, like Shayde, when you've been on Skidoo for however many years, it's like, that's what you're used to, and it all kind of feels the same. So it's kind of like a learning curve, too.
Well, and like Hunter, so I always blew up the Polarises. So Hunter never got the
so he's like,
opportunity to ride the
you don't need
Polaris.
that. Back out.
It's already don't run. So yeah, he missed out on a few of that stuff due to me. So he kind of got stuck on a Skidoo. Just kind of that's
true.
what I had, and then so.
And what are you guys both currently on right now?
So we're both on the same sleds, 21s, Skidoo, a 154 with the short tunnel turbo factory, the turbocharged. And I remember even a few years, like when I was thinking about going to Polaris, I even remember Shayde saying like, dude, wait till they come out with these factory turbo sleds. I'm like, wow, not even kidding you. Yeah. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, I guess, just the bad experience of like an older brother having on a sled.
Sure.
It's kind of made me want to I kind of don't want to have problems out on the mountain, especially we're from the flatlands, North Dakota. We got to travel a long distance, and like, I don't want to be broke down. So that's kind of why I've always went to Skidoo, but I have been thinking about getting maybe here, it might be snow checking, trying the Lynx out next season.
Yeah, because what was your this is a good point. What was your guys' initial reaction to the 2023s?
I mean,
Yikes.
it's like seeing like a new like pickup, or something, like where you're like the first thoughts of like, say like the new Ram or the new GMC, you're like, wow.
I mean, if we're talking about the design of it,
I don't know,
man.
the design, it's
Dude,
the
they got
features.
tore up on social media with memes
bad.
and Ninja Turtles and
It was
they got
brutal.
walked on.
Yeah.
The lady from
It was-
Monsters,
it
Inc.
was-
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
that was a good one too. Yep.
But yeah, no, I mean, the looks in itself, not. I give it like a 2 out of a 1 to 10 on that.
And we're Skidoo lovers,
Sure.
So.
Sure.
And I mean, the whole back half, I guess, is still the same.
same,
but,
yeah,
I
the
mean, what they
tunnel.
did change, I don't think that they've done any better. But the performance-wise, I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Yep.
So I think I'll probably try to go with the new Skidoo next year if he goes with the Lynx. And
I think the Lynx looks pretty good.
Dude, the new
Yeah.
Lynx, and then 180 horsepower with this with the turbocharge. I was like, and then I like the 3 lights, like they got the light in the middle, like the projector light. I thought that was pretty rad. And me and one of our welders, he's always been kind of talking about the Lynx and stuff too. And I wasn't really the first day when they released it, I wasn't really too over happy about it. I thought they were gonna blow it out of the water next year. It's like Polaris, like the tapered tunnel and like the slimmer body panel, they just look absolutely amazing.
And even to this day, even though if I still plan on like ordering a Skidoo, like I haven't snow checked one yet.
Sure.
But I mean, when Polaris released theirs last year, it was hard for me not even to like take my money, you know?
yeah.
It was tough. I was like,
100%.
man, they did a good
Yeah.
job on that thing, you know, and it's boosted and it's got all the right things, the big screen, and you can track your buddies. Like they did it right, you know. So
100%.
I'd like to try one day, but I don't know if it's quite in the cards for me quite yet. I want to see what maybe that new Skidoo is like for the next coming season with, you know, the performance and how they narrowed it up and
They've came a
all
long
the
way.
all the functionality of it. Not buying it for the looks. We'll just set the record straight right now.
Yeah.
It's growing on me a little bit. It really is.
Yeah.
But
I was just going to say they've came a long way since your boosted Dragon.
oh yes, yeah, big time.
So Justin, question to you. You know, Skidoo, when they released that, they came out with a statement that they have the most powerful factory turbo 2-stroke. Do you think that's gonna for the
Polaris
Skidoo,
is gonna be releasing their 23 end of the month, so they're probably gonna be like 181 horsepower.
This is my
know?
question: is do you think that you know that statement came out on Valentine's, and then Polaris is releasing on the 28th? So is that statement only going to last for 2 weeks? What's your thoughts on that?
I can't say much, but it's just cool to see like the you know, like Skidoo and Polaris. I feel like they're so competitive with like technology advancements and everything, and it's really cool to see like, you know, Skidoo will do something one step up, and then Polaris will do one step up, and then
just a little bit more.
You know, it's just, and that's how the sleds evolve. You know, you got that aggressive progression.
They're constantly pushing
technology.
each other, like you're saying. Yeah, they're constantly pushing each other, raising the bar.
Yeah. So I like to see it. You know?
So something that's super interesting. So I interviewed a good buddy of mine, Travis. He's been on a couple of episodes, diehard Skidoo guy, and we did this last episode. Just came out last week, didn't it, Jeff? It was the last one that we did. We did like a breakdown with the computer and brought up the schematic of the Skidoo when we were talking about all the points and stuff. And something that we were talking about is, you know, their new gauge.
Yes.
So something that he didn't know the answer to, and maybe you guys do. So they're doing a similar thing like Polaris where you can track your buddies, right?
Yep.
My question and his question was too, if you're on that Skidoo with that screen, can you see all the Polaris buddies on your screen?
I mean, they should.
Yeah.
In all reality,
I don't know the
it shouldn't
answer either.
necessarily be about a brand. It should be
Right.
about safety.
Because you're not going to be riding with a group and everybody's on Skidoos. Like you need to be able to see everybody else.
Absolutely, yeah.
Regardless of
I don't know.
That's huge.
It's
interesting.
I don't see a
That is
reason
very
to keep
interesting.
them separate.
No.
You know, because everybody rides what they like,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
you know, if you can see all your buddies, it's like a safety thing.
It
too.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is. That was killer for like you guys. Like when you guys were searching, like, oh, Austin, yeah, he's gone. Yeah, he's heading to the parking lot. I was like, oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and
that was.
you
pretty
don't get
badass.
that.
I could
you know?
foresee that being extremely frustrating, right? If
Yeah.
you are out with a group and everybody has those screens,
Yeah.
Polaris and Skidoo, and they can't talk to each
That
other,
would
and you
be-
guys are in a
that would be
situation
pretty
where
retarded.
both of these sleds are capable of doing this, but they won't talk to each
Can't
other.
find them. Yeah.
I could see that as being really frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And disappointment.
No, and
Disappointment,
they
yes.
definitely need to have something there to, you know, whether if it's an app or something that to get that software on there where they can communicate. And even like Arctic Cat and I'll say it, Yamaha.
A what?
I know what you mean. As a safety perspective, yeah, they should all have some type of a tracking feature on them. You know,
they probably will one.
I hope they do, and then I hope all four are linked together.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
that'd be sweet.
They should.
absolutely.
You see where
Yeah.
everybody is, no matter.
And
what they ride.
hopefully going back to Yamaha, you know, hopefully they can kind of do something on their own and maybe, you know, step it up in the world. 'Cause I know every time you
Yammies.
speak of Yamaha, everyone's like, a what? You know, or who? But, you know, it's at the end of the day, you definitely don't want to see another company go down, you know?
Right.
So it's always good to see competition. So, I mean,
Totally.
hopefully they can kind of not look so much like a cat and go out there and do their own thing. But yeah, all get back together and get that gauges, of course.
For sure. So this
gamers out.
this topic of different makes and models and stuff, what's your guys' opinion on the Taiga electric snowmobile?
Oh, well, it's probably going to be our future.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know. I love the boost, the turbo. I mean,
Sure.
the sound of it, you really can't beat that.
Turbo sound.
But you know, with the technology advancing with batteries and stuff, and being able to produce the power that like these cars are producing, and transversing that technology into sleds, it might be something in the future. And with the tree huggers and the shutting down that they've been doing, that might be a solution to be able to keep riding without making a ruckus or polluting the ozone with our two strokes, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like they're pushing it so hard, at least in the automotive industry. And I just kind of feel like it's a little too early. I mean, I'm sure like everything technology goes right up. So maybe someday they'll make a battery that's, you know, better than the ones that are, you know, lighter weight and whatever. Yeah. Better disposal. So
it is pretty interesting if you've, you know, seen one of their videos or whatnot, to see people's kind of hate comments, right? It's interesting, and everybody has their opinion, and that's totally cool. Like, we all have that right. But for me, my opinion, like, if one pulled up out at the meadow today, like, I'd jump on it and rip on it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, dude. That'd be sweet.
And at the end of the day, too, like, I think it's dope regardless of what company it is, to be pushing boundaries. Progression, level up, try new things, like, across the board, electric or not. I think it's sick.
Oh, it's
everybody's
super
pushing
badass.
each other.
Yeah, for them to not to create a snowmobile that's also naturally aspirated, but to just straight up go straight on, you know, all electric, you know, and to try to get into a market that is two-stroke gung-ho dude, you know? Like,
They do take a lot of heat.
They do because of that,
It comes up on TikTok every so often. And I'm reading through the comments. I'm like, man, these guys are just getting nailed. And they take it pretty good, you know? It's like they're a good sport about it.
That's good.
For sure.
Well, pretty soon they'll be the ones probably laughing like, look at you now you're riding it.
Never know.
You know?
Never know. But yeah, no, that was a good point. Those last few minutes were really good. Lots of good topics.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Jeff, how we doing on time? Oh shit, an hour. Okay, well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's do the sled talk questions of the day.
Okay.
Right. So Shayde, you go ahead and go first. What's your sled talk question that you'd like to ask the viewers and listeners?
I hate to do this to you, but it was a good one.
Yeah.
My question to you guys would be, what would you guys prefer, a sled deck or a trailer, and why?
Hell yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Leave your comments below. We want to know for sure. Hunter, what would you like to ask the listeners and viewers?
I guess, what do you think we'll be doing in the future? Electric or motorized snowmobiles?
Heck yeah. It's a good question. It's curious. I want to know your guys' answer.
It might be 10 years, might be 15, but
100%.
But
yeah. So leave your comments below. We want to know the answers to your guys' or to those questions. Oh man, an hour straight. That was a hell of a show. Again, boys, thank you so much for jumping on here. Appreciate you guys taking the time. Totally. Appreciate you guys doing this. And Justin, thank you for coming back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good to have you on here again. So, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. We're releasing these episodes every single Friday at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So definitely turn on notifications because they're coming. And then I will go ahead and put all of your boys' social links in the description below. So go down there and give all these boys a follow. Appreciate the shares.
We appreciate you.
Hey, there we go. Awesome. Cool. Well, we'll wrap this up and we will talk to you guys on the next episode.
Living life with no regrets. I can't designer when I get dressed. Summertime on winter fresh. I put her legs behind her head. Night she gone to bed. Bye bye. Every day it's a new test. I just keep chasing these chicks. Living life with no regrets.